All right, so this is my 2020 5075E. It's got the 520M loader on it. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and grease the old John Deere up. It was greased when we first got it. Let me step back a little bit. It was greased when we first got it, but it hasn't been greased since. We've only used it for, I don't know, 5-6 hours since we bought it so far. But I'm gonna go ahead and hit it with some grease, and that way everything is nice and lubed up. And I'm gonna go back here behind the barn and cover up some holes and stuff that we've been neglecting. And I don't have any machines here other than just the tractor, so we use it. And of course, we're out of grease. So I'm gonna grab a tube real quick and get some grease in it. This is just a case of grease. There's 10 tubes in here. We get this from a company and they deliver it. So last time we bought 90 tubes. I'm down to 40 tubes now. We're gonna go with the air setup, but let me see if I can get this camera. I know y'all don't want to see me unbox grease, but some people might. Give me a screwdriver. Old man told me one time, he said, son, any man that wears gloves or smokes cigarettes can't do nothing in life. I tend to believe him. All right, so that's what you see when you open it. And most of y'all probably seen a case of grease before, but if you hadn't, it's just they're not always yellow. There's a tube of grease, and this is I think it's 3% moly. It says 221 moly ultra, and it's the Schaefer's. A guy come out to one of our jobs, and he's a grease salesman, but we had some grease that we were using at the time, and he did a test where he put some in his hand, and then he poured water on it, and then he took and just rubbed his finger like this in it, and the grease we were using, it just disintegrated, and you could see the palm of his hand. And then he brought this out, did the same thing, put some in the palm of his hand, put water on it, and then put more water on it, and sit there and just rubbed it and rubbed it and rubbed it and rubbed it and rubbed it, and he never could get it to break free. So right then we bought it. And this is the life of your machines. Now, we're pretty dumb for using tubes still. We're trying to get set up with a air-powered grease system for our big machines, but our small machines, like the skid steer, it takes 2 tubes. And that's really greasing it. I mean, that's getting with it. And the little small excavator don't use much. Tractor will use a tube and a half, maybe, probably just a tube. So it's not beneficial to have several setups. We just need one setup for our big machines. Like the 210 takes 4 or 5 tubes every time you grease it, to grease it properly. The Dozer takes a tube and a half, 2 tubes, depending on how long it's been. The old Army truck don't use much, but at the same time, those 3 machines pretty well work together. So the big machines work together. We've got that trailer, that service trailer set up so we can put a grease can on it. Wouldn't be a problem at all. So we'll just have that, and then we'll still buy tubes. We'll buy tubes for the smaller machines because it's just more practical with a battery-powered grease gun, which I'm stuck with just old hand pump right here at the shop, because this is what we use around the shop, because a lot of times when we're greasing stuff at the shop, it's rubber bushings and stuff like that on it, and we don't want to blow those out, so we just use a hand pump to grease our dump truck and stuff like that. So let me put my gloves back on to do this. All right. So just unscrew the top And that it's empty, but there's still a little bit right there. This looks like, so this is not that new grease. This is an old tube grease. But what I always do, I pull that back, I let it go. You see how I pushed it out? That's pretty simple, right? You do this enough and you'll learn that. And then you just lock it back. It's got a little groove. It's got a little groove where you can pull it back and just lock it in. Then you take your new tube, pull your cap off. There's your grease. It sets down in there like so. And I know all of y'all have probably done this before, but there may be somebody watching that hadn't and wants to learn. It's just like a can of Viennese sausages. Just pull the top off of it. Wipe a little bit of excess off, and then I always set it inside the cap. If you set it like that, you ain't getting grease on everything. Then you throw that away. Now we need to put our pistol grip back on. I used to work for an old farmer, and he's one day I was changing the grease tube out. I was greasing the tractors, and I cross-threaded it on there, and I was like 15. But instead of backing it back off and really getting it like it should have been, I just tightened it down. That joker cussed me. He was not happy. And I always push at it. Some people leave them out. I ain't never been one to do that. I always push mine back in. And then you can squirt it and see that one's already primed. It already come out a little bit. Now there'll be an air pocket in there, but if you're getting some grease movement when you first put the tube in there, usually you're pretty good. So let me finish greasing this tractor. So that's this side. We grease, there's two here, one here, and then there's four right here, and I forgot one. So now this side is greased other than the front joints, which and some of these won't hold a whole lot of grease, so you ain't got to over grease them. Just give it a little bit. So I'm gonna grease the other side, and then we'll go do something fun. All right, just for the sake of the video, I'm gonna show y'all what I was doing. So there's the grease fitting. There's one. Let's do it so you can see it in comparison to the tractor. And I don't claim to be an expert. I mean, I've been around tractors a long time, but there's two, and there's four. All right. And then there's one there, and you pivot. That's where your front chunk pivots. And there's probably one in the back that I didn't do, but it'll be all right a second. There's one on top of you, where your axle goes in, but there's not one. Wait, yep. There is one right there. You gotta pull that cap off to get to it. Okay, I'll hit that real quick. See, I'm learning too. So there's one right there, and that's just for your to keep your bearing wet, or keep your seal wet right there. Don't put a lot in that one. Don't over grease it. Just put one pump every, I don't know, whatever the manual says. I ain't read it, but don't over grease that one because you'll blow that seal out. Same thing over there. I think if you put one pump or two pumps every, 10, 15, 20 hours, you should be fine. You probably don't even have to do it that much. If any of y'all are John Deere experts, you can let me know. But I'm guilty of not reading the book. There's my top link that Hank borrowed. All right, well let's go move a little dirt around. About out of fuel. It's all right, Brett will be here in a little bit. so I know y'all are thinking, what's the deal? Why you need a brand new tractor when you got excavators and bulldozers and skid steers and all that good stuff? Well, we purchased this machine. We got a contract to, and y'all have seen that on some of our previous videos. We got a contract to do maintenance on a place. It's like a subdivision, a dirt road subdivision. It's I guess it's out in the woods. People from down at the beach, they come up here. They stay in these cabins and stuff like that, and it's just a place for them to get away. And they've got quite a bit of grass out there, and so we bought this tractor. We got the contract with them to keep all the grass and maintain all the roads. So we needed a tractor. I've wanted a tractor since I've graduated high school, but just never had a reason to really buy one. So we decided to go ahead and buy one. That contract pays for the tractor and Amanda operate it. So, and we make a little money off of it. So that's the reason we bought a brand new tractor. It's just because this is not just my play around the house tractor. It has a purpose. We're not just buying stuff to play with. I mean, if it don't make us money, we're not really gonna buy it. And you can make a lot of money with a tractor. It's just a matter of how you use it. All right, y'all, so that's a little introduction to the tractor. If y'all like our stuff, subscribe.